Good evening. It's unlikely that Boris Johnson had any plans to visit Russia. Nonetheless, the Kremlin has made it clear he's persona non grata, placing a travel ban on the Prime Minister and a dozen senior ministers. Russia accused them of deliberately aggravating the situation in Ukraine and providing Kyiv with lethal weapons. And Moscow had a sinister warning today for all countries shipping weapons to Ukraine: stop or risk, quote, unpredictable consequences. But weapons, and more powerful ones, are exactly what Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says he needs to hold back the expected new Russian offensive in Ukraine's east. Yasmin Bodlbai has the latest.
Many Russian troops may have pulled back, but their missiles are still hitting Ukrainian cities. At least one person was killed after rockets struck a residential area in Kharkiv. This man described how two people were hit by a shell as they walked down the road. Amid the devastation, people were treated on the streets. Smoke was also seen billowing over Kyiv. Even as people tried to get back some semblance of normal life in the capital, the war continues around them. Just days ago, Boris Johnson visited this city. He won't, though, be going back to Moscow anytime soon. He was welcomed here 5 years ago, but today he and a dozen other senior ministers have been banned from Russia. Predictable, perhaps, but in a more sinister move, the Kremlin has also made threats of unpredictable consequences to countries that continue to supply weapons to Ukraine. But more weapons is exactly what President Zelensky says he must have from the West. Without them, he says, peace cannot be achieved. There is no peace, though, even where Russian forces have retreated. Local police on the outskirts of Kyiv say 900 bodies have now been found, many in mass graves. More dignified funerals are starting to take place. 13-year-old Elise was shot while trying to flee the fighting. He joins the unknown number of innocent victims of this cruel war. Yasmin Bodlbai, ITV News.
And our political correspondent Carl Dinnan is in Moscow tonight. Carl, what do you think Russia hopes to achieve with this travel ban on the Prime Minister?
Well, I think it's really intended for domestic Russian consumption as a message, because it's difficult to think of any real-world practical effect this will have. As Yasmin just said, the Prime Minister was here 5 years ago. The Defence and Foreign Secretaries were here in February, all on diplomatic missions. But the Russians have also banned the Chancellor and the Deputy Prime Minister and former Prime Minister Theresa May. And I'm not sure any of those people have ever even been to Russia. The Russian Foreign Ministry said the bans were because the British leadership is deliberately aggravating the situation around Ukraine, pumping the Kyiv region with lethal weapons, they said. They're also angry about sanctions. The Foreign Office hasn't responded directly, but say that it is an implicit sign of success because they're getting under the Russian skin. And I think that much is certainly true. Whenever you hear Russian officials speak, they're more angry about the British response than that of just about any other nation.